Hey everyone, I'm Kim Kantner.
And I'm Julie Golden, and we are your hosts for American Hustlers, presented by True Crime News.
And we're joined today by podcast contributor Tyson Wrensch.
And we are about to dive into some of your most highly requested questions about true crime.
Here we go. 3 words to describe the podcast. I'm going to use hyphenated words. I'm going to say drama-filled, never-ending rabbit hole.
Eerie, disturbing, sometimes funny. That's 4 words, sorry.
Addictive, unbelievable, lemonade. And the reason I say lemonade is because that's personally for me. Years and years of lemons in my life dealing with this story. And now that it's over, this really is the lemonade for me.
What's the craziest thing you learned from doing this podcast? Craziest thing I learned was that one of our murderers got murdered.
What is the most surprising true crime fact you have found out? This is easy. I just found out at any given time there are 450 serial killers driving trucks across this country. Makes sense, totally terrifying, and apparently there are FBI agents who are assigned just to serial killing truckers. Were there moments when you felt unsure about getting involved in the investigation or the legal process? Who did you write this for? This was probably written for me. Yeah, I would say the entire time I was unsure if I should stay involved with this.
I was so angry and I felt so betrayed that I genuinely didn't care. I wanted justice.
I have been a true crime fan before true crime was popular. So no, I don't have any doubts about getting involved with the investigation or the criminal justice system at all. In fact, I thrive on it.
I would say from the very beginning, I was excited. Then when I started to get into the case, I was very scared, a little bit regretful. But then my partner in crime, not really, but metaphorically, Kim would always talk me off the ledge. I don't even think she believed we weren't in danger. She just said whatever she had to say to keep everything moving. So, good job, Kim. How did you overcome those doubts? Well, Kim would lie to me and say we were safe. I don't believe that was true. She said that those criminals had much bigger fish to fry than us. But I'm an erratic Jew, so that didn't really help.
I was so mad that the cops didn't do anything and the bank didn't do anything. And I wanted to catch him. I wanted to see him pay for what he did. And it still upsets me to this day that because nothing was done, that a man lost his life over it. And so, did I overcome those doubts? There were moments. I know that my family was worried, but I genuinely didn't care. I was ready. If he came for me, I was bigger than him. So bring it.
I mean, in the end, I overcame those doubts because I just had to finish it. Once I begin something, I have to finish it. And despite all the fears and trepidation I had getting into this, or as along the way, as I discovered super disturbing details that sent literal chills down my spine, I was fascinated too, and I really wanted to get to the bottom of these mysteries. And by the way, when I say mysteries, murder was probably the least mysterious crime of them all. That's what was crazy about this entire episode. And by episode, I mean my life getting involved with this. What's the most important lesson you've learned from researching true crime stories or being part of a case? Oh my gosh, it is a lot of work. 5 years of research. It is intense. And it's cool and it's exciting, but it's like a Russian doll. It never really ends.
The most important lesson I've learned from researching crime stories is to take information with a grain of salt. Sometimes people have agendas and sometimes you don't exactly know where they're coming from. So just kind of take that information in, take it in with a grain of salt, process it before you put it out to the masses.
I think the thing, especially in something as big as this story, is there were so many people involved. And there's a lot of sketchy characters, and you don't know who to believe. And when the house of cards begins to fall in a big case like this, there are still some not so good people, and there's a lot of finger pointing. And even when I went to the Palm Springs Police Department to first say, like, look, I know who's involved in this missing person case, I got put in the white room, that you see in the cop shows where the suspects get, the good cop, bad cop routine. And all of a sudden I realized, oh my gosh, now I'm a suspect. And so as we're doing this podcast, there are still people in this podcast that I honestly don't think that they told the truth. So, it's still a lesson learned that you still can't trust everybody.
What is a common misconception people have about con artists and criminals? Probably the most common misconception I think people have about con artists and criminals is that you can see them coming, that they're identifiable monsters. The really good ones aren't. The guys in our story, super suave, charismatic, charming, and they're missing the empathy gene. So if you don't have the empathy gene, you don't have a tell. If you don't have a tell, you can't tell that you're dealing with a sociopath.
There's so many tactics they use, and there isn't one across the board that I feel applies to all of them. So what I would say is listen to your gut. Like if something sounds funky or wrong or off, vet it. Tell your friends, tell your family, hey, does this sound weird or is this funky and should I run for the hills? And if you're even asking yourself that, you're probably onto something. What role do you think online communities and social media platforms should play in helping to solve unsolved crimes? I think crowdsourcing is great for getting the word out. It really is. It can be very damaging if it's getting the wrong word out, and that's a very gray area that everyone has to be aware of. But if it's publicity that's needed and crowdsourcing and social media and sharing can get the word out, especially there is zero harm in getting the word out about a missing person. If someone goes missing and that can go as viral as possible, as quickly as possible, it's amazing. And of course the police are going to be inundated with tips. Some of them are going to be bad. There might be a good one in there and that person's life might be saved. So I think in that sense, it's vital. Listen to all the episodes of True Crime News Presents American Hustlers now on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
or wherever you get your podcasts.
And thanks for watching.